Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala, Paper 12 Environment Management, Module 13 Environment Impact Assessment Methodologies. Dear students, in the previous modules we have already learnt about the EIA Notification 94 2006 and its amendments. These notifications describe about the rules and regulations of the EIA. So, in the present module, we will discuss about the structural approaches developed for undertaking activities of EIA to identify, predict and value changes of an action or project. The chapter describes methods for EIA and help to choose most appropriate method under existing conditions. So, first talking about what are EIA methodologies. EIA methodologies are based on principle of equality, openness, cost effectiveness and efficiency approaches. The criteria for selection of appropriate method involve number 1 simplicity, which means the methodology should be simple and based on available manpower. Number 2 background knowledge. It can be adaptable without much difficulty. Number 3 budget and time. The methodology should be applied by small group within approved budget and limited time span. Flexibility. The method should be flexible and allow the modifications and changes during course of the study. Now, objectives of methodologies. The objectives of the methodologies are to number 1 understand the nature and location of the project and possible alternatives, identify factors of analysis and assessment objectives, preliminary identification of impacts and scoping, baseline studies and evolution in the absence of projects, prediction and assessment of impacts and alternatives, comparison and mitigation of impacts, monitoring and impact management. Then focus of methodology. The focus of methodology should be on potential impacts on different type of environmental components, that is natural and social systems, time and space, methodology requirements. The EIA practitioner faces vast varieties of raw and unrecognized information that must be collected and analyzed in preparation of EIA report. The best methods should be able to number 1 organize a large mass of heterogeneous data, number 2 allow summarization of data, number 3 aggregate the data into smaller sets with least loss of information, number 4 display the raw data and the derived information in a direct and relevant fashion. Target audience should be considered. For example, if target audience are not educated, then use of color code, size, cross, etc. should be used rather than that figure and tables. Major methodologies for environment impact assessment. The methodologies can be broadly divided into 5 types on the basis of impact identification strength. These are number A ad hoc methodology, number B checklist method, number C matrices method, number D networks, E overlays. So, now we will discuss all these 5 one by one. A ad hoc method. This is a simple method and based upon broad environmental aspects. This method is very useful whenever time period is limited with lack of required scientific information, and in this situation EIA must depend exclusively on background expertise and experience of experts. This method is not recommended when more scientific methods are available. Then the various types of ad hoc methods are opinion polls, expert opinion, Delphi methods, etc. The advantages of this type of method are simple and easily understandable. The experts of a respective areas guide environment impact assessment. Overall environmental components are enlisted. Disadvantages of this method: number 1, it requires expert person. Number 2, the identification and prediction of short or long term impacts are poor because it is examined on guess basis. It provides minimal guidance for impact analysis while suggesting subjective area of impacts. It is not good for organizing, reviewing and interpreting data. Next, B, checklist method. Checklists are standard lists of the types of environmental potential impacts which are associated with respective project. The lists are prepared with highly structured approaches and involve importance with weighing of factors and ensuring that no potential impact is overlooked. Checklists are very effective in impact identification and are capable to spread awareness and attention for people. Checklists enable identification of impacts on soil, water, atmosphere, flora, fauna, resources, recreation and cultural, etc. Now, the types of checklists. Checklist method can be further subdivided into simple checklist, descriptive checklists, scaling checklist, scaling, weighing checklists and questionnaire checklist. So, first discussing simple checklist. Simple checklist consists of simple list of environmental parameters and no information needed regarding the magnitude or importance of impacts. Checklist can recognize resource or environmental component which are affected due to particular activities. The example given in this table for construction site. The tick mark confirms that impact is there. No tick mark or leaving the box blank means no impact. Simple checklist can also give idea about type of impacts like short term, long term, reversible, irreversible, etc. For example, in this table we have shown various resources like air quality, water quality, landscape, ecology, noise, traffic, etc. And potential impacts from construction activities are written in terms of site clearance, earth moving, lay foundations, impact materials, cumulative impacts, etc. Descriptive checklist is extension of simple checklists and adds background information of each aspect. Simple checklist consists only of aspects, whereas descriptive checklist give both aspect and their background information. Descriptive checklists are strong for impact identification of environmental parameters and also incorporate impact measurements, interpretation, evaluation of impacts as well as in decision making process. It guides mainly how to assess impacts. Descriptive checklists delivers more information about the nature and magnitude of the impacts rather than just identification. An example of descriptive checklist is presented here in the table, which includes past, present and future actions. The checklist can also discuss the cumulative impacts due to past activities, project and other nearby resources as shown in the table with the example of groundwater and air quality. Number 3. Scaling checklist. Scaling checklists are similar to the descriptive checklist with additional information of subjective scaling of the impacts on the environmental parameters. The meaning of scaling is rating or grading the system. For example, for the rating of water quality, that is best is for 5 and 1 for worst. A representative example is given in the table for scaling of the parameters. Scaling weighing checklist. Weighing means giving importance to specific parameters. For example, water quality may be prime importance in one project as compared to land area. Hence, here along with scaling, weightage is given to water parameter so that it becomes more important in evaluation. Scaling weighing checklist represent scaling checklists with information. The structured equations are used to weigh the environmental parameters. The scaling weighing checklist involve primarily two methods. One is environment evaluation value system and other is Battle environment evaluation. So, number A, environment evaluation value system. The environmental evaluation system is a methodology which conducts environmental impact analysis. The EES evaluates environmental impact in 4 major categories such as ecology, environmental pollution, aesthetics and human interest. Major features of the EES are its hierarchical classification system, its commensurate unit of measure, that is EIU, recognition of environmentally sensitive areas. B. Battle environment evaluation. The Battle environmental evaluation system is a methodology developed by Battle Columbus Laboratories for conducting environmental impact analysis in 1972-73. It is based on a hierarchical assessment of environmental quality indicators. The system is based on classification consisting of 4 levels which are further subdivided. Level 1 is further divided into 4 categories, whereas level 2 into 18 components, level 3 into 78 parameters and level 4 as measurements. The scores of this system are produced with and without project activities. The difference between them gives measurement of environmental impact. For example, at a scale of 10, the score is 8 before starting a project and it becomes 3 after completion of the project. Then measurement of impact is 5, which means high impact. And if difference is 2, it means less impact. A Battle EES table is shown and explained here. Battle EES table shows the complete list of categories, components and parameters of the Battle EES. Column 1 shows the 4 categories, column 2 shows the 18 components and column 3 shows the 78 parameters. The EES methodology depends on the assignment of an importance unit to each parameter and collectively these importance units are referred to as parameter importance units or PIUs. A total of 1000 PIUs is distributed among the 78 parameters based on value judgments. The individual PIUs are shown in column 4 of table 6. The individual PIUs are shown in column 4 of the table. The summation component PIUs are shown in the column 5 and the summation category PIUs are shown in column 6. Number 5. Questionnaire checklist. The checklist is prepared on the basis of questionnaire for public consultation as given in the table described here. It gives information about the stakeholders' awareness and responses for their proposed project. The questionnaire is further evaluated in spreadsheets to find the scale of impacts and weight of parameters based on public opinion. Advantages of this method are: number 1, simple to understand and use, good for site selection and priority setting, impacts can see on past, present, future, etc. Disadvantages of this method are: do not distinguish between direct and indirect impacts, do not link action and impact. Sometimes it is a cumbersome task. So we can see the table here having issues. Yes is the response, maybe is another response, or no observation against each issue. Now coming back onto the third type of methodology, C, metrics. Metrics method provides a framework for interaction between project activities and their environmental impacts. It can evaluate degree of impacts of project activities on environmental resources. It is a grid-like table with one axis for project activities and the other axis display environmental characteristics. It can also evaluate the cumulative and indirect impacts as well as interaction with resources. It is observed as two-dimensional checklist. One is with axis of action and another is axis of environmental components. So functions of the methodology are: preliminary identification of impacts, that is scoping, comparative analysis of alternatives, impact assessment, presentation of evaluated results, etc. One of the methodology of metrics method is Leopold matrix. It is the most common method. The Leopold matrix provides a framework for analysis and numerical weighing of probable impacts. It is a simple way to summarize and rank environmental impacts and to focus on that impact which is considered to be greatest. Each action and their potential impact are considered. The components of a Leopold matrix environmental impact study are shown in this flowchart, where we can see the actions, recommendations, factors, impacts, etc. jumbled to each other. The impact associated with the project action column and their environmental condition row is described in terms of its magnitude and significance as shown here in the diagram. Each individual impact is estimated by product of significance and magnitude. In Leopold matrix, on horizontal axis, the action cause environmental impact. On the vertical axis is the existing environmental conditions affected by the actions. Number D, network method. Network method identifies the pathway of an impact using a series of chains, that is networks, between a proposed action and the receptor of an impact. It attempts to recognize a series of impacts that may be triggered by a project action. According to Larry et al., networks are those methodologies which integrate impact causes and consequences through identifying interrelationships between causal actions and the impacted environmental factors, including those representing secondary and tertiary effects. Now, advantages of network methods. These are integrated assessment instead of discipline by discipline interrelationship between causes and effects, including indirect impacts, cumulative impact assessment, communication when simple, then disadvantages of network method. The disadvantages are its complexity, especially visually complex, difficult to distinguish and quantify magnitudes of different impacts. The network diagram, flowchart and impact trees are used for analysis of the interrelationship between cause and effect and enable the analysis of indirect and cumulative impacts as shown in the flowchart here. The flowchart is shown for the fisheries, which gives how it leads to algae, dissolved oxygen, aquatic macrophytes, further nitrogen and phosphorus concentration in water, then effects of vegetation butterflies, effects of reduction in fertilizer application, and how all these effects are interrelated to each other. Then overlay method, E. The overlay method is developed by Shopley and Fuggle in 1984 and McHarg 1969. It is based on a set of transparent maps. Each represent the spatial distribution of an environmental characteristic. The set of transparent maps have information about physical, social, ecological, aesthetic characteristics of the project area, and after overlapping to produce a composite characterization of the regional environment as shown in the superimposed figure here. Overlay mapping is a simple technique to display of impact areas. Intensity of impacts can be presented by color shading. It is an effective visual aid. It is useful for documentation of environmental conditions before and after project implementation. It may describe both biophysical and social aspects of area under study. These are highly communicative, easy to integrate multiple information, including those of remote sensing. So, dear students, concluding the module, that there are various methodologies are available. All these methodologies have different scales and magnitudes. A deep study of these different methodologies enable us to understand to which type of methodology is to be applied for what type of impact and to up to what level we need to study these impacts for an effective environment impact assessment study. Thank you.